Hello, so creative, it's Faustina here. Welcome to another interesting tutorial. On today's tutorial we are going to learn how to cut and sew this beautiful crop top halter neck that you are seeing on the screen with a turtleneck that you can rock with any fitted pants of your choice, either high waist or low waist. You can see how beautiful it's looking on me. It's so beautiful. So if it's something that you would like to learn how I cut and put it together, please keep watching and let's dive into our drafting table without wasting time. So this is the material we made use of. Is a 28-inch of fabric, is a pieces of fabric. So with any pieces of fabric left in your cupboard, you can sew this beautiful crop top without wasting time. So let's dive into our drafting table. So we are going to draft out the front bodies firstly before we go ahead and start drafting the back. So for the front, from the starting line, I'm going to mark out my chest line, which is my bust divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches, and because we are adding shoulder slope, I'm going to add 1 inch extra allowance for our shoulder slope intake. So any value you have, you are going to input it from your shoulder to that value, and also input from your shoulder to your bust point and to your under bust, and also to your front waist line, and lastly to your blouse length. So my blouse length is equivalent to my paper length, which is 20 inches length. So after getting all my vertical measurements, so I will now go ahead and label all our vertical lines for clearer view. So I will label my chest line, my bust point, my under bust, and my front waistline, and my blouse length. So remember, your front waistline is different from your back because of the presence of your bust in the front. So I'm going to input my shoulder and my neck width, and I also input my shoulder on my chest line to get our armhole line. And on my armhole line came down by 1.5 inch for my shoulder slope. I taper it to my neck width, and for my neck depth I came down by 3 inches, which is 3 by 3 measurement. So on my chest now I'm going to go up by 3 inches, come out by 0.75, and taper it to my shoulder slope like so, which on my chest line I'm going to input my bust divide by 4 before I will now go ahead and complete my armhole curve. So on my waistline I'm also going to input my waist divide by 4 plus 1 inch that intake, and on my blouse length I'm going to input my blouse circumference, which is where your top will stop. You are going to measure round the circumference of where your blouse will stop. And after getting all the value, I went ahead to complete my armhole like so. So on my waistline I'm going to input my bust span, which is your nipple to nipple 7 divide by 2, and I'm inputting the value on my bust point, under bust, waist, and also my blouse length. I'm going to open up the dart by half inch on both sides because my bust is 34 inches. So from 34 to 35 you can go ahead and use 1 inch, but from 36 and above you can go ahead and use 1.5. For bigger size you can go ahead and use 2 inches dart intake. So the waist that I bring it down to my blouse length. So I went ahead to replace that intake that I took on the blouse length by the side. If you can see clearly, you can see that I went ahead to redraw the shape of the blouse length by the side because of I bring down the waist dart to my blouse length. So on the under bust we are going to input 0.25 by the total side of the dart leg, by the center and also by the side, and we are going to place our pattern curve like so to draw out our small busty area. So for our princess dart, we are on the center of our armhole. We are going to now rule it to come and meet our bust point, and I'm going to come down by 0.25, and I'm also going to also reel it to come and meet my bust point also again like so. So this particular princess dart is not a bustier princess dart, is an English princess dart that you can use to sew your corporate wear, your blazers and your suit jacket. So it's not a bustier, rather is an English princess that I can use and sew English wear. So what made it different from bustier that is because the underbust was not contoured that much. So on the neck depth, I'm going to come in by 2 inches for our halter neck, which you can also come in as preferred. You can also go ahead and come in by 2.5 or 3, but this particular one I came in by 2 inches. And also you don't have to draw out your new armhole curve. It's very straight like I did, but rather you are going to draw it like so. You are going to use your pattern curve and give it a slight curve like so. Don't go ahead and draw it straight. So I use that first one to tell you that you don't have to draw it straight, rather you will place your pattern curve and give it a slight curve. So this is the pattern. I also go ahead and add our side bust. Our side bust is the difference between our front waistline and also our back waistline. So we are going to go ahead and cut out our pattern, but not our drafted pattern, but rather the shoulder and the neck is our main focus, because we will be needing it to get our round neck measurement. So we are going to keep it aside and go ahead and draft out the back. So how do you eliminate the difference between your front waistline and your back waistline to a blouse that does not have a half cut or a gown that does not have half cut? So oftentimes people wonder how you can eliminate it to a blouse and a gown that does not have half cut. This is how you eliminate it. You simply minus the difference from the length of your blouse or the length of your gown that does not have half cut. So if you watch closely, you will see from the length of my back blouse, I came up by 1.5 inches, and that is the difference between my front waistline and my back waistline. So I went ahead to come to impute my chest line. We are maintaining our front chest line, and also impute my back waistline like so. And I went ahead to label up. I also imputed my armhole line. So on my waist, I'm going to come in by 1 inch to redraw our center back. Our center back don't need to be straight, rather it will be in a curvy shape. So that 1 inch, I taper it to our neck line and also taper it back to our blouse length, and this curvy shape is our new center back measurement. And on the shoulder line, I came down by 1 inch for my back shoulder slope, and for the back neck depth, I came down by 1 inch as well. So I went ahead to divide my armhole line into two to find the midpoint, which I came in by 1/2 inch and taper it to my shoulder slope. And on my chest line, I'm going to impute my bust divide by 4, and I will now go ahead and complete my armhole curve like so. So on my waistline, from our new center back, I'm going to impute my waist divide by 4, and on our blouse length, I'm going to impute our blouse circumference divide by 4 also. On our waist, I'm going to impute our 1 inch dart intake. I also do the same thing on our blouse length. And I'm going to, from our normal original center back, I'm going to impute our bust span so that I can get a straight line from our chest to waist and also blouse length. And our chest, I came down by 2 inches. I'm going to open up that dart by 1/2 inch on my waist and on my blouse length. I'm going to now go ahead and form my dart leg like so. So this is it. We're also going to add our princess dart, our English princess dart on the back also. So for the back, you don't have to do too much. Just from the center of your armhole, you now curve it to your bust point. So for the halter neck, I also go ahead and come in by 2 inch for the center neck of our beautiful halter neck crop top. And I'm also going to curve in our new armhole like so. Using my curve rule, I went ahead to curve in our new armhole. You can see how I'm trying to place our armhole. It will not be that curve, you just slightly bit curve. So our back pattern is also ready. We now go ahead and cut it out. It's not cutting the drafted pattern like we did for the front. We're also going to cut out the shoulder and the neck, because we'll be needing the neck before we now the neck value before we now go ahead and now cut out all our drafted pattern. You can see I'm trying to cut out all the parts that we don't need. So after cutting it, this is the front and the back. I'm now going to now go ahead and taper our two shoulder, the back and the front shoulder, with my masking tape. I'm going to use masking tape and tape it down, which after tapering it down, I'm going to now go ahead and bring in my measuring tape and now go ahead and measure round our neck like so. So we'll be needing that value in order to cut out our turtleneck. So I went ahead to measure all round the neck, and this is the value it gave me. And because this is half of our neck, I'm going to times that value into 2 to get the fuller of our neck, and it gave me 16.5 inches. I'm going to write that 16.5 and keep it aside. We'll be needing it in future when joining our drafted fabric. We'll be needing the 16.5 in order to cut out our turtleneck. So I went ahead to untape our masking tape on the shoulder, and we will now start cutting out all our drafted points. So I will now start cutting our drafted point because I've already gotten my neck circumference for our turtleneck. So I went ahead to cut out our waist dart to enable me to close our side dart like so. You can see I'm trying to close our side dart. So we are going to close it and tape it down with our masking tape, and now go ahead and now shape that our side proper. So after closing our side dart, I will now proceed in cutting the princess dart like so, the remaining princess dart, and after which I will now cut our new armhole. The first armhole is not needed. We are now going to use our new armhole like so. So our halter neck has been formed, and this is it. This is for the front part. So I'm going to label it and keep it aside, and also go ahead and start cutting the back part. So I'm also going to go ahead and cut out the back waist dart before I proceed in cutting the princess dart and our new armhole curve also. So this is how you go about the cutting, and after cutting I also going to label it. We now proceed in transferring all this pattern to our fabric and also to our lining. So I will now go ahead and transfer this our pattern to our fabric. I've gone ahead to transfer our pattern to our fabric and also lining, and this is all the necessary allowance that you will add while transferring your pattern to your fabric. So you are going to add half inches all over your drafted pattern, while for the hemming part I added 1.5 inches for the hemming part, and for the side bust I added half inches on our bust area armhole side, while for the side I added 1.5 inch sewing allowance. So I also do the same thing to the back side and front. So we will now start joining our pattern. So this is the front pattern, and I'm going to join the tutu side bust area, and this is how I'm going to place it and sew by 1/2 inch. So I quickly move over to my sewing machine and go and sew it. So I've gone ahead to sew it, and this is the back side. I've also gone ahead to open press my seam, and this is the outcome. I also do the same thing to the lining, and this is our beautiful lining. I join the two princess dart and open press our seam, and if you watch closely you can see that our lining is 1.5 inch shorter than our main fabric. It's because we want to use this lining to tuck in our hem side inside, and this is how you go about it. You are firstly going to drag this lining to meet your hem side, and you are going to sew by 1/2 inch before you now take up the lining to now start sewing your armhole area and your side area. So we are going to basically use this lining to turn our tutu armhole and our tutu side, but and also our hem side. But firstly, we are going to go ahead to our sewing machine and go and sew the hem side by half an inch. So this is it. I've gone ahead to sew the hem side by half an inch, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to drag the lining up to go and meet the armhole area, and by so doing the hem side will naturally follow the lining up, and by so doing you have automatically hemmed the hem part of your gown without wasting time. So I've gone ahead to hem the other part, both the armhole side and the side of our beautiful gown. You can see the outcome. I also go ahead to iron press it on my ironing table, and this is the beautiful crop top. So we start joining the back the same way we join the front. So we start joining the tutu princess dart. The difference between the back is just that the center back is open because of the zip allowance. So we are going to add zip on the center back of our beautiful crop top. So I've gone ahead to also turn our back with our lining and also iron press it, which I also went further to close up the zipper area so that we can go ahead and close the side of our beautiful halter neck crop top. So I'm going to introduce the front part and lay it on the back, and before we now start marking our circumference measurement. So I'm going to input my bust circumference, my waist circumference, and my blouse circumference, and this is how I go about the measurement. After marking out my measurement, the remaining allowance left on the side, I'm going to divide it into two and share the remaining allowance on the both side of our beautiful crop top. And I'm going to now rule out the line like so, and I will now move over to my sewing machine and go and sew the tutu side. We will now start working on the turtleneck. Remember that I said that we will be making use of this 16.5 value that we measured around our neck. So this 16.5, we are also, remember when we measured it, we did not add our zipper allowance. So this 16.5, we are going to go ahead and now add our zipper allowance of 1.5 inches, which in total will be having 18 inches like so. So because our zip is going to run all the way to our turtleneck, that is why we added our zipper allowance. So after getting the length of our turtleneck, we are going to mark out 2 inches width on fold, which when you open it up you'll be having 4 inches. So I went ahead to mark out 2 inches all over the 18 inches length of our turtleneck, which I proceeded in cutting it at like so. So after cutting out your turtleneck, this is what you are going to have. Remember, I folded the fabric in a bias form also. Note that I folded the fabric in a bias form. So I went ahead to notch the center and now turn my neck to the so right. We now introduce our blouse like so. So we have gone ahead to rip off the zipper side that we sewed earlier. So we now start tucking in our neck in between our turtleneck like so. So from the center of our neck, we go and meet the center of our turtleneck, and we are going to now hem the tutu side of the turtleneck, both the front and the back, by half an inch, and we are going to pin it down. You can see me hemming the back and pinning it down with my office pin. I also hem the front and also pin it down with my office pin. So you are basically tucking in your neck in between your turtleneck like so. And I'm also going to repeat the same thing to the back. From one end of the turtleneck, I'm also going to tuck in my back neck. From one end, I'm going to tuck in my back neck and also hem it the same way I hem the front neck, and I will do the same thing to the tutu back like so. So I've hemmed the other side. I'm also going to tuck in this other side. From one end, I will now tuck it in and also pin it down with my pin. So I will now go over to my sewing machine and now run a stitch from one end of the turtleneck to the other end, very close to our neck. and I've gone ahead to run the stitch. You can see the outcome is looking so beautiful, and this is the outcome of it. So when you fold your fabric, this is what you are going. So I will now go ahead and insert my zipper on the back. So from our neck to where our beautiful crop top end, so this is where we are going to insert our zipper. So I'll quickly go over to my sewing machine and go and insert my zipper, and I will now come and show you the last outcome. You see how beautiful our halter neck came out. It's looking so beautiful and demure. So I've gone ahead to insert our zip. You can see the zip is running from the turtleneck all the way to where our blouse length end, and this is it. This is the final look. So if you have watched to this point, thanks for watching. This is the end of our tutorial. We have come to the end of the tutorial, and if today is your first time of coming across my channel, my name is Faustina, and I love you all. Bye.